welcome back to Talking Blondes. I am your host, Virginia.
And I am Caitlin. We're happy to have you back with us.
We are very happy to have you guys back with us and happy March.
Happy March! It's finally here after what felt like the longest winter ever. What? I am so delighted. I can't say that enough.
And Caitlin, for those who are watching, Caitlin is embodying spring energy in her look today and is looking extra lovely. And it's just so great how people come out of winter, mentally, physically, emotionally. It's not just, the physical, transition from winter to spring. I feel like it just there's this whole other energy that comes with it. And Kaylin, are you feeling like that natural shift in energy?
Yeah, it's very much a turn of the page, I think, mentally.
Yeah,
Obviously we're turning our calendars to March. Yeah, literally. But I just
literally.
think there's something that hits when you wake up and you hear the birds are chirping, and I don't know, it just there's something about it that's just
hmm
very much helps kind of hit the reset button. So
I'm so glad you used that word, reset. That's a great word. And yeah, March is personally one of my favorite months. Um, it's just, for me, there's a spiritual, deeper meaning behind it. I feel like March is a magical month. It's also a birthday month for our mutual friend, Amanda. So, Amanda, if you are listening, happy birthday month.
happy birthday month. We love you.
We love you. She is the March queen, so her birthday will be coming up later in the month. But yeah, I can think of so many amazing people who have a birthday too in the month of March.
I was just saying this to one of my friends the other day. I feel like I have so many Aries friends. I like it's wild. Especially the end of March, it is crazy. It's just boom, 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 boom. It is a birthday. It's a whole thing. Whole thing.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not mad about it. I'm happy to
I'm not
celebrate
mad
it. I'm not mad about it. No, no way. But yeah, I don't
about
know. It's a lot of good people born in March.
a
So
lot
if
of
you're
yeah.
listening, happy birthday month. If you were born in March, we
Yes,
celebrate you for sure.
absolutely, absolutely. And the spring equinox is coming up. And like Caitlin and I talked about in our resolutions episode that came out at the beginning of January, we actually talked about as to why New Year wasn't the time for setting big resolutions and goals, but it's actually the spring equinox. So maybe that's what you're kind of feeling right now, and that's natural to want to you know, get out of hibernation and really start living. Which is super exciting. Um, some of us, depending on where we live, we could still be dealing with winter weather. We are having incredible sunny weather in North Idaho, but that's about to change. We're going to go back to cold and rainy here starting tomorrow. And that's just, what the season brings. But I think that's why sometimes um, during this energy, or excuse me, this seasonal transition is that light comes from within too, right? Like
Totally.
then we really have like a
Totally.
magical season ahead of us.
And I want to give a special shout out. I'm going to embarrass him again to my boyfriend because
Oh.
he and I were talking the other day, and we of course we're both like so happy that it's getting nicer.
Hmm.
And he's like, I'm going to do what Virginia said on the podcast. And once spring hits, I'm going to really dive into you know, working out more, doing this, doing that. I'm like, oh my gosh, stop. I just thought it was so cute. Like
That is so cute.
Virginia's husband is of course our honorary intern and
He is.
huge fan, and we love him so much. And then you've got my boyfriend who is also just wonderful human and huge fan, and it's just so
Oh,
cute. I don't know. I just had to share that because I was like, listen, it's not just for the ladies. The goals
no.
and the routine setting and everything, like it's across the board and it hits.
Yes. Oh, well, okay. First of all, thank you so much for sharing that. That is amazing. I love that so much. And I think what I really love about it, and this is just kind of how it feels, we force so many things in January in dead of winter,
Yep. Yep.
which could just make things 10 times harder and more painful versus kind of like, hey, that's not what this season is for. That season is coming. And you
Mm-hmm.
just naturally want to do those things. They feel more aligned. And Caitlin, you already said some key words: reset, routines, habits. These are the things we're going to touch on in today's episode. So, Caitlin and I had an episode earlier about goal setting, but it wasn't necessarily about how to set goals. You don't you didn't have to listen to that for today's episode. I'm just going to do a little recap of it, but it's definitely recommended if you haven't checked it out. We liked that one a lot. But yeah, it's so that was all about actually kind of the inner work as to why you even want to set this goal to begin with. And some of the things that kind of come up, that resurface. So it could be anything from like, self-doubt or, thinking that you're just not that person and that why even bother, going after that goal. So the inner work was what it came down to were these several things. One was figuring out your why, which is your strong anchor, to remind yourself like, you're part of something bigger than yourself. And maybe that's what keeps you going and sticking, to that goal. The other thing was your identity around it. Maybe they're, you know, whatever it may be, like you're just not that person who works out. You're not that person who eats healthy. So, like a core identity, shift. And then it's just your belief pattern, about yourself and your capabilities of even doing that. So, we were touching on what we felt like was really important, but it is that most effective when it's paired with structure. And I know if we hear that word, we're like, wah, 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 structure.
It's
Boring.
not the flashiest, most fun of words, right?
It's not. And, if you want to like jazz it up a little bit, doing boring work isn't sexy. It's work. But the thing about that is, and we're going to go over it a little bit more in today's episode, but I do feel like when that structure is paired, with your inner work, then I just think that makes the process far more promising and hopeful to accomplish whatever goal you have. So, just a personal opinion. Caitlin, do you kind of feel like that's maybe the
Yeah.
formula for kind of sticking to goals
Yes.
and stuff like that?
I think it takes a lot of discipline to
Another word, harsh word.
I know,
Discipline.
right? I know.
You're
I
so
know.
rude.
Right. I think it takes a lot of discipline and a lot of like very boring, dull, repetitive actions slash habits, if you will,
Mhm.
to get to the other side. It's like the before and after. I'm not saying once you get to after you're done, no more routine, no more anything, but
Right.
to get to like what you want, where it is flashy, sexy, this, that, whatever, you got a lot of like grunt work, or
Mhm.
just repetition that maybe isn't grunt work, but it's just like meh,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know.
Yes.
So yeah, in a less profound verbiage use over here, I agree. Yes.
Well, thank you, because preparing for today's episode, I was like thinking about, gosh, how did it even all start for me? Like, to bring more structure, into my life. And I'll talk about that a little bit more in the episode. But we're going to reference a book that I've read and that I just completely resonated with and helped me so much. So before I reveal what that book is, I'm going to start with a quote and then we'll go from there. So
We love ourselves a quote here.
we do, we really do. So the quote is, "You do not rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems."
Mm. Mhm. Mhm. Yep. Facts. Facts. Big
So,
time.
Caitlin, when you heard that, I'm curious, what were your thoughts?
I mean, I think about goals that have panned out, and I think about goals that haven't panned out. And the
Mhm.
ones that haven't panned out, I have definitely kind of just fallen back on my old ways. So it
Mhm.
tracks for sure. Um,
Yeah,
big time. Big time.
yeah. So you're feeling like if you had maybe more of the system to support
Sure.
said goal.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And a lot of it is kind of preparation,
Mhm.
mindset. I mean, there's a mixture of things that go into it, but yeah, I mean, if you don't have something kind of solid as your foundation, you're gonna fall back.
Yeah.
And you can fall back on something good. I'm not saying it
Mhm.
has to be bad. It's just
Right.
that my first thought of that is like, yep, that makes sense why that didn't work out. That makes sense why that, didn't work out kind of thing. So,
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts on that. Because, like, yeah, maybe the fixation can still be on the goal, the outcome, right? And in our episode about goal setting, Caitlin and I were really big about the process, not the outcome, which is a reframe, right? Because I think we're more programmed to make it about the results and the outcome. And
yes.
not to say that you can't benefit from that at all. I mean, we put in the work because we're hoping to get that reward. Totally get it. That's human nature. But I think to like, I don't know, just make it more impactful. I do think the magic is more in the process than the actual goal.
Definitely. And I think it's more sustainable in the long run
Yes,
to just keep at it if you are finding ways to enjoy the process.
absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to talk about, and this is the book Atomic Habits by James Clear. And we're gonna talk about the three building blocks to be able to support said goal. And so here they are. They are your habits, your routines, and your systems.
Mm, okay.
Those are
Check,
the
check,
building
check.
blocks. Check,
Okay.
check, check. Yes. So what is a habit? So from my quick search, a habit is just a memory of the steps you previously followed to solve a problem in the past.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. And I think it might be important to understand that you don't just do these things at random. They actually once served a purpose,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that purpose was. And maybe you're growing out of that. Maybe you're shifting and those habits are no longer aligned with you anymore.
Hmm. Okay.
In fact, it takes it even deeper, in the book, and then just like, really reflecting on it. Maybe there's really no such thing as a good or bad habit. That maybe it was just a habit that worked for you once and it's not working for you anymore.
That's
But
fair.
you take it how you want to take it. I just think sometimes that removes the shame.
Mm-hmm.
It makes this more of just like this learning and growing experience because I can reflect on my past self and all the habits. And yeah, some of them were out of survival. Some of them is what I was just able to do during that season of my life. And
Mm-hmm.
instead of like, being like, oh my gosh, like, that's what you did, to cope with stress or anxiety or like, and that's what you did, when I was living a far more chaotic life. It's like, yeah, yeah, like that's,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well,
yeah.
yeah, and it looks different too as we age because when we're younger, I mean, not everybody, but in general, we often have more time on our hands than we do as we age. We have
Mhm.
less responsibilities. We have more, just just more time to be filling up our day with different habits and different things. And of
Right.
course, with youth also comes lack of wisdom often. So sometimes the
Mhm.
habits that we're choosing to implement into our lives maybe seem good or feel good, but
Right.
as we age, hopefully, we learn that, there are healthier routes to
Mhm.
take if we
Yes.
do have things like anxiety or, whatever we might be dealing with. So I can
Mhm.
totally understand how it would transition over the years and hopefully evolve for the better.
Absolutely. Yes, thank you for mentioning that. And actually, Caitlin, is there a habit you have currently that's working for you?
Yeah, so it looks different depending on the seasons, but
Hmm. Yep.
typically, and again, I'm on March, or I've got spring on the brain. So
Yes, good,
typically,
good.
from like mid-March onward, until I don't know, sometime early November or something, I will use my lunchtime to go for like an hour-long walk or something.
Nice.
And I'll get a podcast or
Hmm.
just a good playlist or an audiobook or something. And now I can't say I can make it happen every single day,
Right.
but it's more often than not that I just am using my time to try to get out and be active and move around.
Yes.
And again, I know I said earlier, there's just something about hearing the birds chirping and all that stuff,
Hmm.
but it definitely, especially for anybody else listening who knows what the corporate life is like, where you're just sitting at your desk most of the time, it just feels good to be moving and have different scenery and hopefully get some
Yeah.
sunshine in. So,
Oh.
um, but during the winter months,
Hmm.
I do rest a bit more. I will say that kind of to what you were talking about a little bit earlier, Virginia. But when I'm trying to be active, instead of maybe going outside where it's windy, cold, whatever, instead
Yeah.
of doing that quite as much, I might just do a Pilates workout in the living room or something, which is like
Hmm.
less exciting, but it still gets me doing something and it takes my mind off of sitting at a desk for the rest of the day, and it gets me doing something. So I find that it helps me just mentally. It gets my brain in a whole different thought. Like it's really hard to be stressed when you are moving around. I'm not saying you can't be stressed. You totally can, but it is very liberating, I guess, if I'm having like a hard day or something. It's a
Yeah.
good reprieve. And also, I mean, there's the given that, movement and any form of, physical activity is beneficial in that sense. So,
Definitely.
yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for too bringing up because we are transitioning into spring, but for some of us, we could still be experiencing some winter elements, right? So
Hmm.
it's still cold and, outdoors, even though we're getting more sunshine and the days are getting longer and lighter and everything, it's still a good reminder, in my opinion, to just pace ourselves.
Definitely.
Just to pace ourselves. Like spring is a beautiful season of like that in between season of winter and in between season of summer. So there's no need to just take on all the things because all of a sudden you feel a burst of energy and then you quickly crash out because you took on too much too fast.
Hmm.
And maybe we'll actually have a separate episode, Caitlin and I, on just that alone, like maybe, the habits and routines and systems that are more fitting for spring. Um, but yeah, and I'm bringing this up because Saturday, I went out for a walk mid-afternoon. It was absolutely gorgeous out. Okay, and to Caitlin's point, movement is medicine. It reduces stress and anxiety. You hear birds chirping. That's serotonin. You're getting this quality dopamine, from your outdoor walk. All the things are supposed to be working for you, not against you. And I had anxiety on the walk. And I was like, where is this
Hmm.
coming from? Like, this is so bizarre. Like, I am literally out in nature therapy. Why do I feel this sudden burst of anxiety? Because I started to get anxious about all the things that I thought I needed to do or be for this season, this seasonal change.
Oh, okay,
And
okay.
I had to remind myself, like, no, you do not. Where is this coming from? Well, because it's sunny out. And if it's sunny out, then I have to do this and I have to do that. And it's like, no, you don't. You can still take it one step at a time.
Yep.
So, and I thought that was so cool because before I knew it, I started taking on, outdoor walks and more working out without any force.
Okay.
Like it just feels like a natural fit because I'm being conservative with it. I am
Hmm.
not doing it all at once and every day I'm attacking, attacking, attacking. I'm like, nope, not doing it.
Yeah.
Not doing it. So I know that might sound weird to hear from, somebody like, I'm all for being out in nature, and yet I still experienced anxiety. And so if you can relate to that, I just really encourage you to like lean in on that and just ask yourself, like, hey, where's this coming from? And you
Hmm.
might be surprised what came up, because what came up for me, I was like, oh, okay, that makes total sense. I've been in winter, I've been in hibernation, I want to do all the things. That's awesome. But you can still pace yourself, you can still have boundaries. And you can still, prioritize your self care. But yes, seasonal changes will bring different mindsets, um, different different wardrobe. You want to revamp your look, rebrand yourself. Springtime rolls around, you clean out your closet, start to clean out, your house. So like these things that take place are very natural. It's just you just don't have to do it all at once. So
Hmm.
that is my message, and I won't harp on that anymore.
I
But
love
yeah.
that though.
Oh,
Love it.
thank you. Thank you. And Caitlin mentioned already some wonderful habits, especially for springtime. So that's getting outdoors more. That's getting in sunshine and moving your body, whether it's a walk, whatever it may be. And I did pull up, some healthy habits like drinking a glass of water first thing in the morning, before your first cup of coffee, taking that 10-minute walk maybe, every day, or just to like get up from your desk and like just kind of stretch, a little bit. Maybe it's just like a, few seconds of stretching or whatnot. Going to sleep at a reasonable time every night and waking up at the same time too. So these are all, because like Caitlin, you were saying, wintertime is a natural time to be wanting to sleep more.
Hmm.
Now we got to reset, there's that word again, our clocks. We've got daylight savings coming up for those of us who do it. I understand not all states do it here in America. But yeah, we are literally, our internal clocks are resetting. Our circadian rhythm is resetting. So we see more sunlight. So we get up earlier than we were maybe during winter. And again, this all depends on who you are and where you live and what you're doing. But for the most part, you could be finding yourself in winter sleeping far more, and going to bed early, waking up later, and you're getting a lot of sleep. That makes sense though. It's winter. That is the time for rest and recovery. Well, springtime, and Caitlin and I talked about this. The sun is a natural energy source, right? So you actually don't need as much sleep like you did during winter. You're being revitalized by the sun and getting outdoors and moving your body. So again, this is just all kind of the shift that takes place, during the spring season. And those are all healthy habits. But what about the habits that are not working for you, that are not effective? What do you do about them? Do you have an idea, Caitlin?
Yes, stop.
Yeah, that was so great. You
If
stop.
only it was that easy. If only it was that easy.
Not easy.
It depends on the habit, but hopefully you catch it and you see maybe this isn't quite right for me or it's not serving me. and you work to lessen the repetition of said habit, and then hopefully wean it out and replace it with a good habit. I would think that would
Ooh,
be the way to go,
yeah,
personally. Yeah?
you got it.
Yeah?
Replace is the key word. Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
replace.
Okay.
Yeah. So
I'm
that
just
was
thinking like eating junk food, like
great. Hmm.
replace it with some broccoli, you know?
Not broccoli.
Not broccoli.
Not broccoli. Okay, well, let's run with that. Okay, junk food. I actually was thinking of an example of like doom scrolling on your phone. Um,
Sure.
but let's just go with junk food. So according to Atomic Habits, this is the formula to break a quote unquote bad habit or just a habit that is no longer effective for you. So number one is called the cue, and that is to make it invisible.
Hmm.
Number
Okay.
two is the craving, and that is to make it unattractive.
Ooh, I like it.
Number three is the response. You make it difficult to do said habit. And number four, the reward, and that's making it unsatisfying.
Okay. Okay.
So since we're thinking like, junk food, using that as an example, Caitlin, keeping that formula in mind, how do you think that's applicable to wanting to eat healthier
Okay,
and
so
not consume
the
junk food?
first thing was make it invisible. Is that
Yes.
it?
Yes.
So your next grocery run, you do not allow yourself to buy the Oreos, right? Or you take the Oreos out of your pantry and you give them to your neighbor or something, and you just
Mm-hmm.
don't allow yourself to even have sight of this thing that's bad for you or not
Yes.
serving you.
Yes. I think what I'm hearing is the whole out of sight, out of mind.
Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
we talked about how these things are visual cues. So if you see a bag of Oreos, your brain starts to go, well, just one. Or, I'm
Or
going to treat
10.
my, or 10,
Or 10.
um, or 10. And side note, those are literally designed for you to do that. So it's not you, it's the food.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
a whole other episode. A whole other episode. Because it's not just going to be the one.
Right.
Let's be real here. But yes, it's out of sight, out of mind. So the minute you see your quote unquote bad habit, your brain just starts to fire off, right? And before you know it, you're reaching for that Oreo, and then you go
Mhm.
into a shame cycle as why do I don't have the discipline? Why can't I just put these down? And I don't think those are the questions to be asking.
Yes, agreed. Agreed.
And if I want to go deeper with this, it might be like, why? Why do you want the Oreos? What is the
Why?
need for the Oreos? And not accent for some reason, because
Twirl the invisible mustache. What? Tell us more.
what is
Tell us
more?
more about this Oreo fascination. Oh my god, I can't believe this is going in our podcast.
This
We
is
are we
awesome.
are definitely cringe millennials, that is for sure.
Totally cringe. But
Listen,
yeah, because in our goal setting episode, we talked about getting to the deeper meaning behind why we do what we do. And
mm-hmm.
I even mentioned like some of these foods, since we're using junk food as an example, that maybe that did serve a purpose one time. Maybe it's a nostalgic food. Maybe you used to consume that, when you were coping with stress and anxiety,
Or
right? Again, the habit was because it's a pattern and it solved a problem at one point.
mm-hmm.
So, and
Mm-hmm.
that's why I'm like the whole shame game it's not effective. So, if that Oreo bag is like Caitlin was saying, well, first of all, not even purchased. That's one. Two, you have it in your house, but you put it somewhere where it is not in front of you, so you
Right.
can't see it. Then it is kind of out of your mind. But for some of us, knowing like, yeah, but it's in the house, and I'm gonna find it.
It's an
I can say
effective
that.
habit to the left of the dishwasher.
And guys, I can say that from experience. I get it. So if you're one of those people like, no, it has to be out of the house. I want to let you know there's a lot of strength in that. And that does not make you less than. It makes you smart and it makes you serious about your goals. Okay? So don't get all caught up in like, but if I can't even have the house, that means I have no self-control. You do. You do. We're
You
just
do.
channeling that energy into something that's far more productive for you than shame cycling.
Mhm.
But
Mhm.
yeah, Caitlin, spot on. Out of sight, out of mind. The second thing is the craving, so making it unattractive. So what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I
I want to hear
Oreos
it.
are Oreos are ugly. I don't
Oh,
know.
they're
Oreos. Ew.
disgusting.
Ick. Gross. Ew. Clearly we won't be getting any sponsors from them anytime soon. So we
Yeah.
can we can probably count that out. But broccoli, we're here for you, babe. But yeah, I don't know. I might be jumping forward some steps, but maybe like focusing on how they might not make you feel as good as they could.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like an unattractiveness there. Does that
Mm-hmm.
sound right, Miss Life Coach? Something like
Yes,
that?
ma'am.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Yes. And this might even go back to, that inner work Caitlin and I were talking about like you're making an identity shift,
Mm.
right? So like if you're somebody who prioritizes health and you feel and you look your absolute best when you're not consuming those types of foods, well, you're making an identity shift and you're raising your standards. And those are all
Sure.
very, very good things, very positive things. It doesn't mean you won't ever have an Oreo cookie. That's not what that's about. And I talked about that too. Like, it's not like I never not have a glass of wine or a cookie. It's just I'm no longer dependent on it.
Right.
It doesn't have any power over me anymore. I took my power back. So I can actually enjoy just a glass of wine. I can actually enjoy like just a few cookies. And then I'm not thinking about the rest of the week like more sugar. Ah. But if you're one of those people who are like, I, that's not me. Like, I really just can't have it. Like, there's no turn off button or anything like that. Well, then I'm going to encourage you to honor those boundaries then, right? Because this is your
Mhm.
life. This is your health. So if you're one of those people, like, not to throw my husband under the bus, um, but he cannot have sugar in the house. It is highly addictive to him. Okay? He knows this about himself. There's no shame with it, right? But like we really can't have it because he will find a way to get to it and then consume all of it, which is not healthy, right? And that begs the questions like, well, then what's going on? Like, like why you're looking to sugar, to cope with
Sure.
stress or whatever it may be. And that's why I was talking about earlier, like, there is, I understand it's easier to just label and be like, well, that's a good habit and that's a bad habit. But when we do that, though, I feel like, especially when it's a bad habit, it just like makes somebody feel like less than and there's something wrong with them and that they're broken. And that's not what I want this to be about, right? So if he has some inner stuff to work on, great. In the meantime, we're not going to have that sugar in the house. And you may like think, well, is that really effective? Because like what happens the minute you do have sugar, back in your home and like, and it's still, like such a craving, for him. And it's like, well, then, it's like these are just things like each of us, the stuff we have to work on, right? And so if that's what helps him to be able to keep to his, health goals, I'll support it. The sugar that comes in the house is really for me to bake something. But, I'm not a big baker because I'm not dependent on sweet treats to fulfill me or to bring me joy or to bring me happiness. I try to look to other things that will do that. Maybe it's moving my body, being
Yeah.
outdoors, being out in the
Yeah.
sun.
And
So,
that's not to say if you enjoy baking, we're not
mhm,
saying, oh, you're doing it wrong. It's just all things with moderation. And if you
mhm,
know something is going to trigger your health or trigger some sort of habit that is not serving you or is just not healthy, repeated over and over again, then, to Virginia's point, setting those boundaries. And I think the boundaries look different on a case by
yeah,
case basis with each person. So
mhm,
definitely.
yeah. So I'm glad you that's exactly what it is with the second step is making it unattractive, right? You start associating maybe a bit more things that are just not as attractive, with the Oreo cookie. It's like, oh, that gives me inflammation. That breaks me out.
Hmm.
Before I know it, I want all the sugar and the carbs. Now I feel sluggish. I have a headache. So those kind of things you start associating with said Oreo cookie.
Just one.
Just the one.
Only one, of course.
Only one. Yeah. The third thing is response, so making it difficult. So Caitlin, you actually kind of talked about this earlier. Not bringing it in the house makes it kind of difficult because
Hmm.
you're gonna have to then get in your car, drive to your local store or gas station just to get that fixed. Not saying that you want it or that you couldn't, but you just made it harder to access the Oreos
Exactly.
by
Yep.
not even bringing it home in the first place. Um, Go ahead, Caitlin.
I
You
was
were
just
to.
gonna say, and if you've gotten that far where you're like putting up those boundaries, good for you. Because
Yeah.
also though, like we all know what it's like to, late at night and you're like,
Mm-hmm.
Walmart's still open. I could. If I wanted to, I could. Now, I
Yep.
haven't probably had an Oreo since I don't even know. It's been a while.
Yeah.
I do like my junk food. I'm not saying, "Oh, I miss, I only eat things grown from the ground." That's not me. But yeah, I definitely I do feel good about myself when I like go to grab something and like we're just gonna put that back where it was and walk away
Yeah.
kind of thing. It is a good feeling. So.
That it is a really good feeling because I feel like it goes back to that whole like you're in control.
Mhm.
You have the
Mhm.
power over it than it having power over you.
And if you have to cry in aisle 5 when you grab the celery, you just do it, sweetheart, because we've all
Oh
been there
my
and there's no shame in that. We understand.
God. You have to cry in aisle five. It's that blonde girl again, crying on aisle
Oh
five.
my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh,
I'm
that's
sorry, Virginia. I'm totally derailing us with
don't
my
be
random.
sorry. Please don't be sorry. This is wonderful. And then the last step is the reward. So making it unsatisfying. So again,
Mhm.
think about the patterns, right, that are associated with you wanting to have like your Oreo cookie or your sleeve of Oreos or what however you consume. You make it unsatisfying. So how do you think you could make that unsatisfying?
Um, I mean, I know we just said no shame, but like
Hmm.
at the same time, I will say I can think of times when I was in college where it's like, yeah, it's 3 in the morning. I'm gonna down that bag of Doritos or something, and
Yeah.
then like you wake up and you're like, this is not a cute look for me, and so I
Mm-hmm.
guess um not totally just berating yourself. That I'm not saying that, but
Yeah.
kind of holding on to that feeling and being like, okay, this isn't who I want to be.
Hmm.
This is not the lifestyle that I want to lead, or make habitual.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's kind of how I see that.
And this is also, since we are using junk food as the example, this is a hack, and it's actually kind of cool. Our bodies, after just a few days of no junk food starts to recalibrate, which is pretty cool. Because our bodies are smart and they know what to do. They know when they're getting real food. Um,
Hmm.
and so let's say, because an Oreo is highly processed, there's absolutely no nutrition with an Oreo cookie. Okay, we know we're not eating it for nutrients. Okay, we get that. But it's very high in sugar. It's highly processed, right? If you even go just like a week without that, your palate changes actually. Your sense of taste changes
Hmm.
just after a week. It's
Okay.
really cool.
Okay.
For those who are curious and like, want to look into this more, I know Dr. Mark Hyman, and you can find him on Instagram. He talks about a lot of this. It's the reset. The word's coming up again. It's a reset. You're giving your body a reset. And I can say as somebody who's been through the process, it's very real. Whenever I have a Dorito chip or an Oreo cookie, it tastes awful to me
Hmm.
because it tastes so highly processed. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is disgusting. Now, that's me, but that's how I made it unsatisfying because I started to feed my body with real food and my body was craving that. So whenever I had a quote unquote fake food, my body was rejecting it. Isn't
Okay.
that
Okay.
interesting?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
So,
I remember that is powerful too. I remember there's a gum, I can't think of the name of it, but there's like a special gum out there that, and I'm not trying to make this episode all about sugar, but um if you are trying to cut back on your sugar, there's this
mhm.
gum that actually like you chew it, and then if you do go to grab that Oreo or you want that ice cream or whatever, it actually makes it taste gross. Um,
Oh,
so
interesting.
it coats your tongue and does something. I mean, it's obviously temporary,
Right.
but I mean, and I'm not saying go out and buy this. I'm just saying like there are, if you are hearing this and you're like, yeah, that sounds like me, like where it's really hard to say no, or I want to like
Yeah.
reprogram myself, like you're not alone. There's
No.
all kinds of things that you can do for this. And
Yeah.
Virginia, it sounds like your way of just really focusing on natural, healthy, um, non-processed foods and training your body in that way is
Yeah.
the best route to go, definitely.
Thank you. It's been a huge part of my foundation. I really contribute most of my health improving just to that life change alone. But yeah, so those would be the steps to kind of break that habit that's no longer serving you. And to build a new habit, this is a formula from Atomic Habits. To build a new habit, identify a current habit you already do each day and then you stack your new behavior on top. So the habit stacking
Oh,
formula is after current habit, and then I will insert new habit.
okay, okay. I like that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I like that too. In fact, I have an example of personal habit stacking for me. If you guys
Yeah,
would
let's
like
hear
to
it.
know about my morning routine.
Yes, please.
So first thing in the morning, I make my bed. Now, granted, there are other things that I don't have to really like include in my morning routine, like going to the bathroom and brushing my teeth, because those are just things that I do. I didn't have to build a routine around it, so just gotta throw it out there. Just talking about the things that like, there was a time I could care less and, didn't want to do any of this. So first thing in the morning, I make my bed and then I walk out to the kitchen and I unload and reload the dishwasher. I pass the laundry room, which is my cue to get a load of laundry going if that's what I need to do. And then after that, I have my water, hydrate with water first, and then I make my protein shake, and then I have my first coffee. And that's all within 30 to 60 minutes of me waking up. I've already knocked out a few tasks. that without that routine, without that structure, I would just have it pile on me for the rest of the day
Mhm.
and then stress out that I had these
Yeah.
things hanging over me and I felt like I never had time throughout my day. Now, listening to this, I understand that not everybody can relate to my morning routine. We all have different lives and we're all in different seasons. So please don't take this as a blueprint by any means. This is just me sharing with you my personal habit stacking. So,
I love that.
I mean, like Kim and I were saying, this is just boring shit that, this is not
Yeah.
sexy or exciting, but
I
it
mean,
gets me. I love my morning routine.
yeah, well, and the thing is, I'm so not a morning person. I tried to become one, and I don't know. You may have a different view on this. Maybe I didn't try hard enough, Virginia. I don't know. Miss Life Coach, you might have to have some strong words with me. I tried to become one several years back, and it just did not feel at all like my. I am much more motivated to get things done in the afternoon or the evening or whatever. But anyways, that's a whole, I guess, other maybe podcast topic, whatever. But anyways, my mornings are slow. And to your point, Virginia, I know that they won't always be slow. I know that seasons are, of course, part of life. And so right now, being someone who's not married and, childless and everything, I'm trying to embrace the different freedoms that I have. And so one of those things is I do get to end working from home as well. So I have
Mhm.
a lot of, different things that I realize I'm very fortunate to not have to worry about rush hour traffic or, getting my hair perfect for that 9 a.m. meeting or what. Like it's different. So for me, my mornings are also quite slow and also not very flashy or sexy or anything. But there's something about it that, and I don't want to speak for you, Virginia, but I have a feeling you'll agree that grounds you for the day and helps
Mhm.
you set some sort of intention as to how the rest of your day will go. Obviously, you can't
Yeah.
control what other people are going to say or do, but at the same time, you're taking ownership and responsibility of the first bit of your day, and there's something very
Mhm.
powerful in that, and it can be spiritual and just it's a beautiful thing, I think. So boring, sure, maybe, but also meaningful, definitely.
Yes, and thank you for sharing too, just from your point of view as well in the season of life you're in. And it's funny because like, it sounds like, I'm doing all these things and I'm rushing around, but I'm not. This is the slowest mornings I've ever had in my young adult life. And sometimes we may think that like when we bring structure into our lives, that means we're rigid and we're boring and we're not living in the moment. This has given me the most freedom because of structure,
Yeah.
because of routine.
Yeah.
And it's going to look different, depending on the season of life you're in. We're talking about natural seasons like winter and spring. Our routines are going to look different. Whether you're married or, you have kids or not have kids, it's going to look different, which is why I'm more of an advocate for you figuring out your own routine, not necessarily following somebody else's to a T that's not really working for you in this season of life. So you can take what you want to take that's helpful to you. But, I had to really build my routine that wasn't based on an influencer or somebody I really admired and they live a completely different life than me. So why would I think that their routine would be beneficial?
Mhm.
So if this is just a blueprint and you want to kind of implement some things, awesome. But just know it really just comes down to what's going to be a service to you and in your day-to-day life. But I this was not my life in my 20s. I had a far more chaotic morning routine or lack thereof. I operate it more from like get up and hope for the best. So like I woke up late. I only gave myself enough time to get dressed, and then I would like rush out the door, and then I'm hitting like a McDonald's or Dunkin' Donuts drive-through to get my breakfast. I'm in traffic, I've got road rage, and then I show up to work all stressed and frazzled, and that is how I start my day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How much
So,
fun did you have to have
oh,
doing
oh,
that?
so much fun. So much fun. And so to have done like a 180, with my morning routine, it's far softer and slower, and like I feel like I can breathe, and I'm also getting things done like, that won't have to pile up on me throughout the day because I have other bigger priorities, and it's just like it just brings so much more freedom.
Mhm.
And I know it seems like, well, gosh, it just sounds like it was way more fun when I was, in my 20s. And it's like, I get it, but like, I think about it, it's like, gosh, but I'm 35. So if I was still operating that way, I'd be constantly not feeling well. And I love feeling good. And I work
Mhm.
at it. So it's
Mhm.
like, yes, that was a time, right? And this goes back to what Caitlin and I talk about. We all have our seasons. So I don't look back
Absolutely.
and I'm like, that was a bad season, Virginia. I was like, that's where I was at that time in my life, and it's a-okay.
Well,
Um,
and seasons like that are often a rite of passage, I think. It's a
yeah,
part of growing up, and hey, it's okay. It's all right.
absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you. Yes, thank you for that. So yes, and then, so what actually helps you stay consistent with habits and building your routines?
What
It would
helps
be,
what helps you
yeah.
stay consistent?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, that's like the $1 million question, isn't
The
it?
million-dollar question.
Tell us, tell
Um,
us.
it is the third building block, and that is your system.
Okay, okay.
Yeah. So I just, talked about the habits in my morning routine. Caitlin, that you said, and you said it perfectly, that keeps me grounded, that sets the
Mhm.
tone for the day. Not to say that shit might not hit the fan throughout the day. Okay? Okay? But,
Okay, okay.
okay? Okay? But if I took care of some of my needs, well,
Mhm.
then I'd be able to handle a bit more, don't you think?
I would hope so. At least you feel like you've had, like I said, you've taken some power. Like you've taken control. Not that we can never control really anything that happens to us, but you've definitely set an intention and taken some power in the morning.
Yes. Oh, I love that you said
Yeah,
intention. I love that, to live intentionally. Yes. I love that you
definitely.
said that. But yeah, so some of the habits I mentioned in my morning routine, making my bed first thing in the morning, unloading and reloading the dishwasher, and drinking water first thing before my coffee. Um, this could be more of a rhetorical question, but maybe have you thinking like, okay, well then what would that system look like then? To be able to sustain those habits. Well, the system would be I wake up daily around the same time.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
That I have, the laundry basket already ready to go with the clothes that I need to put in the washer and get that going. And then, time everything, knowing when to transfer load from washer to dryer and then fold. I'm not one of those people that takes up to 3 to 5 business days to fold the laundry. I am all about the power of now. That is a book, by the way. I haven't read it. The minute I tell myself, that will have to wait later.
It's not gonna
Um,
happen. It's not gonna
it's
happen.
not gonna freaking happen, people. Okay? It is self-sabotage. 5 days later, you are still staring at that same pile of laundry and you're like, I'll burn it. I'll just burn it all and start over.
I'll just buy new clothes. It'll
Power
be
of now.
fine.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I need a new wardrobe anyways. It's spring
Right.
cleaning. um, you guys, I totally get it. I do. And again, we're all different. So I'm not saying like what works for me will work for you. I am just saying that the minute I put it off and be like, I'll just do that later, I'm entering dangerous territory.
Right.
And I was actually having this conversation with my husband the other night because I understand if you're listening to this and you're single, and Caitlin, you're in a relationship, but you're also in a long distance relationship. So I'm sure you still feel like a lot of these things you are responsible for. Can't share the housework or the load with somebody, and this is all on you. So I get it. I get that it's like, well, who cares? Why? Doesn't really bother anybody else. It's just me.
I will say I clean the best the day before he comes to see me.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Oh, we can do that. We can spray Windex on the mirror, tomorrow. It's fine. Like,
Fine. It's fine.
I
Guys,
promise I'm not a slob, I swear. I swear.
but that's the thing. It's like, we get it. I remember when I had my own space. Oh my gosh, like in our perfectionism episode, yeah, I talked a lot about having it look like I had my shit together, but not actually putting the habits, routines, and systems to actually manage my shit. I just made it look like it. But
If you will.
yes, exactly, exactly. So if you want to, save yourself the frustration and the extra stress, we really encourage this way of just being maybe more proactive versus reactive, and knowing that these are just solutions, right? And they got put together for a reason because a lot of us sometimes really don't know, and it's a real area people struggle in. So instead of feeling like, I'm an adult and I can't even manage dishes, laundry, and emails and phone calls, it's like, again, these resources were put together for a reason. It was to help you to bring structure into your life, and to help you to be able to manage these things. So yeah, that's maybe what the system may look like. That's what it looks like for me. And really what it does is it removes like the decision making and the overthinking is what your system does. So you don't wake up in the morning, you're like, what do I do with myself? And what should I do? And there's that accent again.
What are you going to do this morning?
I think we're gonna have to get mustaches for this podcast.
2016 is definitely trending, and we all have,
It is
we
trendy.
all know. Listen, I was
Oh
that
my god,
person, so
that's so
we
great.
can definitely enjoy this.
Yes, yes. And your environment guides you, right? So if you
Mhm.
have this system in place and your habits and routines, well then your environment is working for you.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely.
but yeah, that kind of sums up the structure. So the other part to the inner work. And yes, there is so much that goes into habits, routines, and systems. And I definitely could have gotten more in the weeds of it. But I refrain because I just feel like on our podcast, just want to keep things as light and simple as we can. We're just planting, the seed. But I do encourage you, if you're listening, and if you haven't read it, I do encourage you to look into it. I do think it's a worthy read. It changed my life. And I was sharing with Caitlin before we start recording. I was like, oh yeah, because I read it like maybe 4 or so years ago, and my brain like slurped it up, like, and I don't know if that like means anything to anybody, but my brain just absorbed it like a sponge. I just felt like James Clear, the author, just had this way of really simplifying what can be a very complicated, thing. Because we're people and sometimes we make things more complicated than they need to be. So I
Just
just felt like he had a
sometimes. Just
sometimes,
sometimes, Virginia. Just sometimes.
just sometimes.
Now and then.
Right. Yeah, I just felt like he had this really great way of simplifying it, and to implement it, right? Because like it's great to learn things, but it's also implementing them and applying the information. So I was thinking about it, and I was like, how did this all start for me? Making my bed. That's
Mm.
how it started.
Mm-hmm.
And then it just built on from there. So like Caitlin and I, we're talking about like, especially as we go into spring, we might feel a little bit more jazzed up, to do all the things. But even if you just make your bed first thing in the morning, you put your shoes away, your clothes away, regardless of the space you're in. So whether it's just you, whether it's you and your partner, your kids. But this is how it all starts. It's the 1%. And Caitlin and I are really big on that because it adds up over time.
Definitely. And it is a domino effect over time. Like you just said, it's uh, motivating you and inspiring you to do other beneficial little things that are also going to serve you. And it's just, it can't hurt, it can't hurt to make your bed every morning and then just go from there and see where the day takes you.
Yeah, definitely. And so thank you everyone for tuning in today. And I think one of my takeaways from this episode actually was to like maybe do a whole other episode on spring related, habits, routines, and
Yeah.
activities. Um, but yeah, I hope you all enjoyed it. We love this series that we put together. So that's the resolution episode, the goal setting one, and now this one. But Caitlin and I actually have really exciting news. We will be having our first guest star for Talking Blondes. Guys, we are so stoked.
Woo! Woohoo!
This is this is happening.
We're excited. We're excited. Big
We're
time.
so
Big
excited.
time.
Um,
We can't wait.
yeah, we really can't, and we're just so like I still think I'm in awe of like because like without giving too much away, I think this is going to be a really awesome podcast episode with this guest star, and that'll be in just a couple of weeks
Yes.
from now. Yeah.
Stay tuned. I am very much looking forward to it, and we're happy to have you along on the ride with us, everybody. So we can't wait.
Can't wait. We will see you on the next episode, everyone.
Real quick before we go,
Oh,
if
yeah.
you found this episode enjoyable, if it hit home, if the mustache jokes were great, if whatever, if you didn't like them, sorry, mine's shameless over here, millennial. But if you enjoyed this, we would love it if you would share it with a friend. Follow us on YouTube. If you're seeing any of our clips on YouTube, definitely give them a thumbs up. We are all for it. If you have a comment, join the conversation. Follow us on
Yeah.
Instagram, all the things. You can find us on Spotify. I feel like I'm just rattling off all these things now, and I'm shamelessly asking people to just follow and engage. But listen, we are not too proud, all right? And for those who have already done so, we thank you so much from the bottom of our hearts. It is wonderful to have this community of just beautiful humans who are interested in some of the mumbo jumbo that we say, and also interested in just the, uh, just doing life together and wanting to be better and wanting to feel better and just put our best foot forward. So we appreciate you all, whether you're a newbie or someone who's been here from the beginning. We see you, and we would love it if you would share with a friend, of course.
Yes. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Take care. And we'll see you
Take
next time.
care. See you next time.
Bye.